Seth said when he and Meredith walked up, there's like a wall of greenery.
Weird.
And then you ring a bell and then two hands shoot out of the greenery giving you champagne glasses.
Weird.
And Seth called it a glory hole of champagne.
Look at Seth.
Seth is housewiving better than his wife is right now.
It's so weird.
Everyone is there, including all of the husbands, except for...
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Hello, everyone. It is Two Queens, One Screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And we have had... It's been a month. This month for me has been rough for me. I've had a lot of things go wrong. I got COVID. My shoulder stopped working. My air
House
conditioning
fell apart. Yes.
My house is falling apart, except for it's not, but it also is. But my kids are really difficult.
Yeah.
It's just been a month. And I don't know if we've really talked before. Are you into... Our birthdays are close.
Yeah.
But I'm an Aries. You're a Pisces, right?
Yes. Yes.
Are you into astrology at all?
I am into astrology. I actually got my, your chart read or something like that quite a few years ago when I was married to my first husband. And she told me that I would have a second marriage and I would have 3 kids, which I technically do because my now husband has 2 children and I have 1 from my first marriage. And no, I love it. I was so surprised. I absolutely didn't believe her at the time, but it was super fun and I really like that stuff. Although I don't know what a lot of it means, like your house is in retrograde or your sun is in Mercury. I don't know what those things mean. So, or like what my house, moon, and stars are. Like, I don't know if I'm full
your
Pisces.
rising sign versus
I don't,
your sun sign. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that stuff, but I would love to find out.
I feel
who is it? Allie Luber, right? Vanderpump. She does all of that.
Yeah.
I would love to get a reading from her. But
that would be so cool. I wonder if she's on Cameo.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That's amazing. Anyway, continue your thought. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. No, that's a really good point. Now I really want to do that. So I don't know too much about it either.
Yeah.
I know that, I don't know if you know this, Dad and Des got their charts done. I want to get my chart done at some point. Dad and Des got theirs done. Dad's chart is a perfect square.
Oh yeah, we talked about
where
that.
his stars are. And I don't know exactly what that means, but also that sounds exactly correct for my dad.
Yes.
Like,
yes. Yeah. I think we Googled it and it said something along the lines of that equals like a really crazy psychopath kind of a person.
He's very intense.
He is very intense.
I am an Aries, and that means that I really only know what it means to be an Aries because I haven't bothered with anybody else's. Right. But I also know that, and I've looked it up and I can't remember what they are. I think my moon sign is Leo, which I think is also a fire sign. And then my last sign is the other fire sign. So like I'm all fire signs.
Wow. Amazing.
Which I, again, don't know what that means, but I feel like it means probably something very good.
Well, it tracks for you is what I'm going to guess.
Just everything's burning down.
Not that way.
TikTok, the way that the algorithm works, I clicked on a couple of videos, I guess, at some point during my COVID, like my brain stopped working. Yeah. That were about that. And so now most of my feed is astrology. And I get a lot of videos that are people giving, I don't know if they're mediums or they're psychics, they're doing tarot readings, they're doing different things. And I've been getting a lot of like, Aries, it's been a shit month for you. And I go, yes, you get it. They see me. And it's just those recorded videos they're like putting out there, but they're like, things have been really rough. Your house is in Saturn and everything's in retrograde, and holy cow, all of these things are coming together and it's bad, but don't worry because next month's going to be better. Which I swear to God, I hope so. But I was feeling a little bored / desperate, I guess.
Oh, okay.
The other day because I was whining to you because my shoulder just stopped working.
Yeah.
And I was convinced that I had torn my rotator cuff. I'm not sure that I haven't yet, but I'm on muscle relaxers right now, so it's better. Yeah. Muscle relaxers are fun, and
that is a Class A getaway right there.
Oh my God, it is. That's going really well. But I was having this moment, and I was sitting there waiting. I had 10 minutes to kill while I was waiting for, I think, a work call to show up. And I was flipping through TikTok, and these people on TikTok in the live streams, I'm getting a flood of live streams of people doing live readings, live tarot card readings, live medium things. And there's this one that I had seen a bunch of times, and she was always really funny and cute, and also very you've got to break up with your boyfriend, he's bad. And I just really enjoy that kind of content. Yeah. And it was if you send her a heart or a rose or something, she'll give you a yes or no reading. And then it's if you give her a dinosaur, she'll give you a full reading or something. Yeah. So, but the one that I sent was $2. I put $2 into my TikTok and I sent her this thing. And then my client showed up and I forgot and I turned it off because I was working and it was $2 and whatever. She actually followed back up with me and said, hey, awesome. The gods are tuning in with me. They have a message for you. Thank you for putting that in. Okay. Send me more money and I'll give you your full reading.
Oh, God.
And I was no, I just wanted to know about, am I going to need surgery on my shoulder? Yeah. I'm feeling really upset about it. And she was like, no, you need to give me more money and then I can give you a full reading because the ancestors are trying to tell you something and it's really important, but I can't until, we connect. And I was like, and so I just blocked her, right? Because it was a lot of messages. This witch has found me on WhatsApp and I think every other social media thing that I'm on and started sending me the most delightful, unhinged, unfucking hinged messages. And if you can see on the video, they're
oh my God.
That's
so like long. A book.
Okay. I'm just going to give you some highlights of it. Hello, wavy face emoji. Okay. And then, I know you're ungrateful and a betrayer. You're not faithful and honest to a witch, and I'm going to threaten you, and I mean it if you don't send me my money within 48 hours. I'm going to manifest a bondage to you that will keep your health situation poor. Fuck.
Holy shit.
My shoulder, I know. And I'm like, no, my shoulder. And then, the ancestors see my pure heart for you, and you're ignoring my messages. And I will give you just a few minutes to reply back to me. And I don't even care if you're sick. And tell me the time, blah, 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 money. A lot of it is not terribly. She was very well-spoken on her lives, but her typing ability, not amazing. But basically, I'm ungrateful. My favorite part, you will die if you don't make the payment between 48 hours.
Oh my God.
And if you still refuse, I will keep your health in death. Grave. You've offended me. And you're disciplined for it until you apologize and pay me back. Yeah. So I think I'm going to die at some point either way. She didn't say I'm going to die within 48 hours, but it's eventually I'll die, which I don't know that that's a fair prediction.
Wow.
But she's really mad. And then she sent me a video of someone, I think, summoning the devil. And she's like, can you see that I'm with the gods? I don't believe that's a photo of her, but I think she's telling me it is.
Okay. Well, I want to know what gods she's talking about. What religion? What gods?
No, I should have asked.
Anyway, continue.
Well, I told her that I hope she's able to make better decisions and choices and remove the greed and violence in her heart. Because I just wanted to meet her where she was at. And she was like, is this your Google profile picture? And I was like, it is.
You found me.
And I was like, I didn't ask for this, so good luck to you. And she said, you think I'm joking? right after I gave you a reading. This is how you want to pay me back. And then she's saying bad things will happen. And I was like, I hope you don't really, do you do this to everyone? I was like, you made a little money. I became Ariana.
Oh, God.
You made a little money off a little effort, which could be a nice thing.
But she didn't give you a reading, right? She didn't say yes or no.
And then I realized that she didn't, because I never found out if I'm going to need surgery or not. I'm still going to have to wait to talk to an orthopedist. So
Jesus.
Thanks a lot, witch. And then she's like, but why did you block me? So then now we realize it's because I blocked her on TikTok. Her feelings are hurt. I hurt her feelings. And I was like, yeah, I did, because I was disappointed that you were going down this dark path. And then she said, why do you think that way, love? I'm not here to harm you, okay? This is the bird. Everyone's seen the video. I'm not going to hurt you. I love you. Come give me a kiss.
I
what
love
you
that
doing?
bird.
And it's the parrot that's going to bite the lady, and she's like, no, I don't trust you.
Now that's her voice.
What you doing? I'm not going to hurt you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, no. And I said, you literally said that you were going to send a bad spell, and I was going to be hurt or dead in 48 hours. And then I really did try to reach out to her better. And I was like, you're smart. You're better than this.
Oh my God.
It must weigh on you that there are people who fall for this. Like, because I'm a little bored. I couldn't lift my arm. And she's like, I know. You have to calm down now, love. Heart emoji. Just calm down. I have a lot of messages for you. And then I said, if you stop working this way, I will not take these messages and have your page removed. Please be a better person. I'm not interested in talking with you ever again. Right? I don't know if I could actually get her page removed, to be totally honest.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not that tech savvy. I mean, maybe I could, but I'm going to put effort into the conversation because it's fun. I'm not going to put effort into taking her down because I've got other stuff going on. And then she goes, okay. And then in the next message, how much can you afford for a reading?
Oh my God, lady.
And I said, I will never send you any money again after seeing how you work. It's just not possible. And she said, we can do a video session, my love. Heart emoji. Trust me. I will FaceTime you.
I love this.
What? And I said, please go use your talents in other ways. I'm not interested in you. Like, stop. And she goes, why? Why are you talking like this?
Oh my gosh.
So that's basically the end of it, because I was like,
holy
if you
shit.
keep sending this, I'm going to call it harassment. But she's other than she's a psychic on TikTok, other than that, she seems like a totally normal person.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What the hell? I guess when you need to do a shakedown and blackmail someone for money, you get a little crazed in the head and become a Karen. I don't know. What the fuck?
I don't know. I had been watching her lives like offhandedly for a while, and she seems like she's doing good business. She's giving people ratings left and right through this thing. If you're making $2 every 2 minutes, that's good. $60 an hour. That's good money, right? Mm-hmm. And she's probably making more than that. So I don't know why she had to try and shake me down. Also, do I look like someone that wants to get shaken down in that way? Maybe. Do I?
No. You're a fire sign. You're not going to put up that shit.
Bitch. Yeah.
Holy crap.
I know. So everyone be careful of TikTok witches. And
they're real.
They are real. But
and they can find you.
They've got the ability to search on the internet better than I can. And also, I don't know if I don't think she did curse me, because my doctor gave me muscle relaxers and I can lift my arm.
And you're good. Look at that. Exactly. She's a bad witch. Well, she's incompetent. She doesn't know how to do her job.
Incompetent witch.
Because you're fine. Okay. You're better.
I'm better. And October's almost here, and all the other TikTok psychics say that things are going to be better in October. So
thank God for that.
But do you know what something good that's happening in September is? Salt Lake's back.
Praise Jesus. Praise the gods for that.
I loved this episode 2 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
This is what I want from these shows. Although I think it's going to be a little bit intense. I'm not even that mad about it because it's like just bitchiness back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried for our girl Lisa because she's got a lot on her plate that feels very intense to me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there are enough women in this group that are going to be interested in taking her down.
I know.
Right?
It's too bad.
So I don't love that, but also I love that they're all fighting and it's all a mix. It's not two separate groups. Right. Which has happened in other seasons with other Housewives shows. It's not like we have a good team and a bad team. Everyone's mixed together and it's so incestuous in the friendships. Mm-hmm. Ideal. Love it. Speaking of witches, that's actually where we start off on this trip is they've all survived the Blair Witch.
Right.
Molly Sanderson or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's not Sanderson. Was it Sanderson?
Sorensen.
Sanderson is the Halloween movie. But yeah, I know that there are times that they need filler. I just didn't need that. But
gotcha.
They all wake up. They're all fine. Meredith had the funniest line about it. She was like, they're not going to let us die. It's too big a liability on the network.
I know. I love that so much. Thank you, Meredith.
This season, if Meredith is just in the wings throwing out little zingers, I would
Chef's kiss.
I would love that.
I love her. Yes.
I love that she's just cruising right now.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that continues for her this season. Because when she gets to, I mean, you may leave is classic, but also I just want Meredith in a bubble bath talking shit. Like that would be ideal for me.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
She's just so serene right now, and I really do love that for her. They're getting ready for the day, and someone's like, "Yeah, let's get some coffee." And I think it was Meredith. Meredith's like, "Is there a coffee maker in here?" And Angie's like, "This isn't the Four Seasons." First of all, Angie's in full fucking glam. And she's like, "This isn't the Four Seasons," and that RV is like top of the line RV. It very luxury as far as an RV is going to go. There's a coffee maker in there. What the fuck is Angie talking about? I didn't see one, but why would there not be a coffee maker in there?
Or she could have packed a Keurig, a single cup Keurig, right? And he packed that. Those things are small now.
Yeah.
But
I feel like those things should just come with them.
Yeah.
Angie, I don't feel like really planned this trip terribly well.
Oh, no. She failed hard planning it. Yeah.
So, I mean, spoiler, we know that she's taking them to Greece later this season.
Yeah.
She better do a good job there.
Yeah. Hopefully.
It seemed like they had kind of fixed a couple things because now they had a grill cover over their big open fire to cook their breakfast steaks on, which they're just eating steaks in like styrofoam bowls.
I know, with plastic utensils. I know. I didn't get it. And a full-on like sirloin. A big ass steak.
Angie. Angie's not doing the best job on this.
No.
She's not my favorite, so I'm going to shit on her no matter what.
I get that. Me too.
They're all having to brush their teeth by the river, and we have got to talk about this. I mean, in everything, the blowjob conversations that we are going to have because of this show. Heather said that she can no longer spit because she was brushing her teeth and she couldn't spit it out because she has Botox in her lips. I didn't know that. I mean,
no clue that was a thing. I know that, in your eyebrows and your forehead, right, you can't move your eyebrows, you can't smile, you can't do all of that. So that would make sense if you get it in your lip area.
I didn't know that you would get Botox in your lips.
Oh,
I guess maybe the marionette lines. Maybe those.
Well, or you've got these Cupid right here. These really, you start to get these Cupid lines here, right? I think.
Awesome. But she said that she's having to take her spitting abilities off her Tinder profile. She's so fucking Mormon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Mary, that's not what you talk about on your Tinder profile. Oh. You're not. If the options are spit and swallow, you're not bragging about spitting.
No, mommy. No.
Oh, she's so sweet. That was just one of those moments where we're like, you're trying to be edgy, but you have missed the mark here, dear.
Sick.
She is so set back because she's been so sheltered.
Yeah.
And she's so in that Mormon culture and she's trying to break free. But then you just see her, it's like, oh, you don't know. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
They start talking about, they sit down there eating their steaks in plastic or in styrofoam bowls. And she brings up in the weirdest fucking sunglasses I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I didn't like them at all. I didn't like her sunglasses. They don't fit her face. They're not attractive. And I've seen her on her Instagram and TikTok with those same glasses still on. And I wanted to rip them off her face. I hate them.
They must be very expensive.
Terrible. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I don't know. I think she looks so good. I think she looks so good. And I just hated those sunglasses. They really bothered me. But they have this, I think, really fantastic conversation that blew my mind a little bit. She's talking about how Annabelle is her youngest and she's about to go off to college. Yeah. She's about to not go off to college, but she's about to graduate and then go to college. And she's got 3 girls.
Yes.
And it's finally about to be over and she's so ready for it. Mm-hmm. And a big part of that we find out is because when she and her husband separated and then divorced, her girls never had an overnight with their dad. What? He would come once a week to visit and have a fun visit.
That's incredible.
So she was 100% the parent.
Yep.
In that.
Never got a night off.
Actual fuck?
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, it broke my heart that she said that she feels guilty because she's like, I can't wait. I'm exhausted. Yeah. And she had to pretend this whole time like it was easy and she wasn't exhausted for her girls.
Yeah.
And I just really felt for her in that. I think she's an amazing mom. I mean, all of her daughters are going to fantastic colleges. Mm-hmm. They seem like really just happy kids.
Yeah.
But that's so much on her shoulders. Not to mention she's got a fantastic business.
Yeah.
She's on Real Housewives.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot for her.
I know.
I mean, you single mommed it.
I did single mom it, and I probably would have gone mentally insane if I wasn't able to drop my daughter off for at least an overnight, let alone a weekend, let alone a week at a time here and there. Mm-hmm. I know what that's like to wait for that day to come to be like, you're going to your dad's. Thank God. Thank God. And because you get 5 seconds to yourself, and her not to have that for 20 plus years is so, that's just incredible that she did all of that constantly. And one of her daughters even said, Mom, you seem like you were in fight or flight ever since Dad left. You kind of have to be, right?
Yeah.
Trying to raise your kids and protect them and teach them all at the same time. You know, she has to be the mom and the dad, right? And then plus trying not to trash this man that's not helping her at all.
Right.
Right. In front of her kids, because her kids are having a relationship, whatever that is, with this person. Right. I mean, that is mentally taxing, emotionally, physically, all of that. And people don't understand what that's like. Even Mary commented.
Right. Well, and I think that she's talking about how she feels guilty that she's looking forward to not being full-time hands-on mom.
Yeah.
And I think I get that feeling. I think even her situation is extreme, but I think anybody that's a mom has felt that way at some point where you're like, I love you. I love being your mother.
Yeah.
Get away from me. Stop touching me. You know, I hate that she feels guilty about that, but I also completely understand it because I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think society also expects mothers to their personality to be that child's mom or those kids' mom. That's now your personality. And that's not who I am. That's not who she is. I am a actual person, an individual, separate and apart from my daughter's mother. Like that is, but society makes you feel guilty if your personality is not being this child's mother or these children's mom. And you're not allowed to have your own independent individual wants and needs. And you have to find out, right? I actually want to go do this, or I don't want to do that. I don't like those things. And I just pretended to like them, and I don't like them, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And she shouldn't feel guilty, but I think it's society that makes women and mothers feel guilty.
And then Bronwyn chimes in, and this is important. Bronwyn is like, yeah, I 100% see that. I was a single mom with my daughter for many years, and now she's supposed to be moving out, and I don't want her to. I just moved her boyfriend in so she won't leave. Mm-hmm. And you can see that hit Heather in the eyeball just wrong. Where she's like,
it didn't land.
It did not land for her. Mm-hmm. But I was a little surprised when Bronwyn was like, I had her boyfriend move in with us. Do you think Todd likes that?
Oh my God, no. Oh my God. I mean, when my daughter went to college and went on her mission and was getting married, all of that was so difficult for me. I still to this day want her to live with me like for the rest of our lives. It is so hard to find yourself again after being that person's mom. You're making their meals, you're making their bed, you're doing doctor's appointments. You're literally every single thing about you is directed towards this child. And right, you have that little ache that you want to be with them all the time. And I can understand Bronwyn saying that because I went through that, but I don't have $1 million home and a luxury to be able to have my daughter do all that. And she probably would have given me the middle finger anyway and been like, no, thank you.
I'm going good. Up now. Yeah.
Which is normal. You want your kids to be like, I gotta go. I'm going to go have my own life. But
my kids are 12 and so smelly right now that I'm like, I need to make sure they're very prepared to get out of here.
Yeah.
But I think that's also just a phase that we're in right now.
Yeah. Right.
But
what I'm saying is not either one of is not wrong.
I think neither is wrong. Neither is wrong. I think, although I think moving in the boyfriend, if the daughter's of college age, seems like not a great idea. But I understand kind of why she's doing it. But also, you're not probably going to look back and feel great about it. Whitney also chimes in and says, and all I want to do is be a stay-at-home mom now, and I can't because I fucked up our lives financially. Mm-hmm. I don't think she said it in those words, but I think that's what she's done.
Yeah.
And she's like, I have to go work, but all I want to do is just go back to being home with my kids all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just very kind of heartbreaking. She's called it her phase of failure, whatever this phase of failure is.
God.
I appreciate, Whitney's not always my favorite, but I do appreciate how just laying her cards out on the table she is right now. Yeah. I think it's pretty brave, especially considering how torn apart she was over her business. And like, look at all the shit she's doing. And she's like, yeah, it fucking failed. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So, and then Whitney asks Mary about Robert Jr.
Yeah.
So last season, she got him into rehab. They had that incredible, just heartbreaking conversation when he explained to her like what he was doing and what he was going through with his drug addiction. And she said, you had mentioned, she said she only has one kid and she could not have done all of this on her own. Like she needed Robert Sr., her step grandpa that she married, to help her through this.
Yeah.
And she just really commends the job that Heather has done. Yeah. And I don't think there is anybody in the world that is judging Heather other than Heather.
Yeah.
I think Heather's putting a lot of that pressure. Heather and that society, that culture that's there, I think puts a lot of pressure on her, but I think she's done an incredible job. We love Heather. Even when Heather's naughty.
Even when Heather's Heather.
Number one. Heather's number one guy in the group.
She Heathered this episode.
She Heather's hard. So Heather goes to lunch with Lisa Barlow.
Yay.
So Lisa Barlow is in this season.
Yeah.
I saw some rumors online that the reason she wasn't in the first episode was actually because of contract negotiations.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so she wasn't going to be in the show until, something happened, but they had to start recording. I'm wondering, that does make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they sit down, and they are sweet, close friends now. Like, they have mended. I think Heather had her sing, and Lisa Barlow's like, this is great. We are good.
Yeah.
And Heather gives her a play-by-play of everything that they talked about on the RV trip.
Mm-hmm.
And she just goes, Bronwyn was talking shit about you.
Yeah.
Angie jumped on and piled on about it. Mayor really didn't say enough about, like, in support of you.
Yeah.
And I think Meredith did a little bit. Like, she threw it out there a couple times, like a couple words of support, but she was like, part of business is borrowing money. And then she faded back behind Mary.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes in that group if it's just worthless to speak up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's 100%. Just, it doesn't really go anywhere and it's not going to mean anything. But unfortunately, your friend thinks, God, thanks for
standing up for me.
Standing up for me when you didn't. But I kind of also think, like I said, sometimes it's just not plausible to jump in with these people. So
one of the things I learned in therapy is saying the thing going to be helpful if you're trying to give it and they're not willing to receive it.
Yes, exactly.
Then you're just throwing shit at them and they didn't want that. And vice versa. If someone is trying to I think that's exactly what you're saying. But Heather kind of asks if there's can she explain what is going on with these lawsuits?
It would be helpful.
And Lisa basically says they're about nothing. They're getting dismissed. Mm-hmm. They're all fabrication. And then she starts like getting so riled up, right? Mm-hmm. She's hurt that the women were talking about her. Yeah. She's hurt that people didn't stand up for her in the way that she wanted. And then she goes, I live a very different life than all of you. I do big things. And you just see Heather go, okay, your life's not that different.
I like that Heather was like, your life's not that different than us, babe. I liked that because I don't think so either. But Lisa thinks so. We all know what Lisa thinks of herself, which is up here, top tier, which is okay.
Sure.
You can think about yourself as top tier. But yeah, I didn't like that comment.
No, Heather was like, I'm trying to be on your side right now. Can you shut? Like, you're fucking this up.
Yeah.
She does say that Meredith was Meredith, and Lisa starts crying.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's totally fine. I'm fine. And Heather's like, it's okay to have your feelings hurt when your friends have betrayed you.
Heather's heathering.
Heather is heathering. Just stirring that pot.
Yeah.
Was Lisa betrayed by any of her friends in this?
Well, I think I will stand by what I said last week where it's a double standard, and Whitney even says that in a part in this episode. I think it's a double standard that nobody's allowed to talk about Whitney's failure in her businesses, private life, whatever. But then Whitney wants to constantly bring up Lisa, throw Lisa under the bus, get everybody riled up about Lisa, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the word betrayed is right. I think a double standard is the right word.
I think that there's definitely a lot of just like at this point, they would have to go back. I mean, past earlier than season 1 to really figure out whose fault it is, because it's just this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing to this thing. Yeah. And this is going to continue forever. Mm-hmm. And it's just whose truce is active at that time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because, who knows? Maybe a few more episodes into this season, Whitney and Lisa will be friends.
Sure.
No. But we can pretend.
Sure.
We can pretend. She talks about all these years of sacrificing, like missing out on important events. I don't get that Lisa's sacrificed that much. But I don't know her day to day.
Yeah, I don't know. When you have glam and you have, right, probably private school for your kids and you have all of these things that money can afford, I don't know what she's sacrificing other than maybe she missed basketball game, football game, some event from a school because she was with Ben and Blake. I don't, maybe there was something like that, but
that's it. I feel like when she's sacrificing for her brand, which is what she said.
Yeah.
If you're sacrificing for your brand, I don't know that that's a sacrifice. I think that's a choice that you're making, right? Sure. That's a value that you're placing on one thing over another.
Yeah.
So I don't knock her for going, I need to go do this event with Ben and Blake or whatever event that it is that she was doing instead of going to my kid's basketball game. Mm-hmm. I think that is a completely fair choice to make. I mean, that's a huge deal. Like, she's doing all that shit in Sundance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're going to miss out on this, but your kid isn't going to be ruined over you missing out. Because I'm sure she went to other things. She seemed like a really active mom.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think she's a bad mom. I just don't think that she's sacrificing the way that she's putting on in this moment.
Or the way that she's thinking about it. Like, maybe you and I would sacrifice, right? Because we don't have however many millions of dollars we get paid a year, right? We don't have that.
You're sacrificing, but you have, a $60,000 ring that you accidentally dropped down the toilet.
Right.
So, and you're going to survive that. And then she also starts, here's the thing. Her inner child is so defensive. She's like, let's dissect everyone. And Heather's like, let's squash it. Let's just have a conversation. We just have to have a conversation. It's going to be fine. Meanwhile, then we also see Whitney and Bronwyn go skiing / snowboarding together. That looks so pretty.
Yeah.
I want to go. I'm very excited to visit you in Boise and see snow. Bronwyn and Whitney are talking about the trip. And he's so excited. She's like, you guys are my friends. And you guys are friends. And it's great. And Bronwyn's like, yeah, except for I really offended Heather when I talked about this. It just, I can't say it the way that she wants to hear it.
Yeah.
And so Whitney gives her the advice, well, you just have to call her on it. Just take it another step. Don't pull back when you think that she's getting irritated. Question her on it. She's going to hear you out.
Yeah.
I thought was pretty good. And then she starts talking about Lisa and explains more of the Lisa lawsuits, which is that, and I also watched a couple of videos of it online to get a better explainer. Okay. So there's this guy, and this is the guy that there had been the rumor going around that she was blowing a guy for courtside tickets.
What was that? Season 1, season 2?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
And apparently this is the same guy.
Okay.
And
nice.
He had a business with Lisa or businesses with Lisa. And then at one point things were not going good, but this was years ago that things weren't going good for Lisa. And she had reached out to him and asked him to loan her money. He ends up loaning her money and getting an American Express card with her name on it, but it's backed by him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has these text messages showing the conversations that they had. They didn't have a structured repayment plan for the money that he loaned her and she spent on this Amex. And it was a flexible repayment plan. And then the other little details of it is that in the text messages, it alludes to the fact that she doesn't want John to know about this situation that she has with this guy. Mm-hmm. And according to the laws in Utah, if you are owed money, there's a statute of limitations. He has 4 or 5 years, but he's just missed that by a year. He should have said it last year and he didn't. And so now he's bringing it all up. And so her lawyer is saying, 1, there's no formal contract around this. 2, it was flexible repayment. So she's not defaulting on anything because it's flexible and they didn't have any structure to it. And then 3, you've waited too long to ask for the money back.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count. So it will probably get dismissed.
Yeah.
So Lisa technically is correct.
Yeah.
But all of the little bits of this make her look shady as shit.
Sure.
It's not great. So if she's freaking out, yeah, I would be freaking out too. But Bronwyn kind of explains all of that. And she says that this isn't retaliatory, but it kind of is, because she's like, you were looking at how I'm spending my money from my husband, but maybe look at whose Amex you're spending money on. So it's very tit for tat between them.
Yeah.
We're going to get to it. But Bronwyn, whether or not she's in the right for all of this, she's coming prepared. If she's going to take down Lisa, she's like ready for it. And Whitney's like, yep.
Eating popcorn.
I saw that too.
Yeah.
She did that to me.
Yeah.
She's kind of a bitch. I feel like Whitney has learned her place, which is you are not going to be the right person to attack. You are going to fail miserably every time. You cannot win against Lisa. But you can stand next to Bronwyn while she does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we get to see Mary and Robert Jr. again. It was another rough scene.
Discussion.
So he's doing better, but he feels like he's in a standstill. He says that he is in a dark place, but he's not in the dark place anymore, but that dark place is still there, kind of next to him. Like he's come out of it, but now he's stuck. Which I think if we haven't been there ourselves, we all know someone who's been there. She's giving him really fantastic advice, and she's telling him he needs to retrain his mindset. He says that he feels isolated because all of his friends did drugs and now he's not around there. So he's looking for other stimuli, which is unhealthy. He said food and drugs, and she panics for a second. Yeah. And it's weed. He's smoking weed. He was smoking weed that day, which he definitely seemed not sober.
Correct.
As they were having that conversation. She's saying, you were surrounding yourself with these people who are dragging you down. And as you're trying to elevate who you are and move forward and grow, you have to release yourself of these people because they're not helping you. And it's sad. But one of the things that she starts talking about is the fact that she had always been a helicopter mom. And also, I think, a very permissive parent. She didn't say that. I'm using that word. And now she's giving him the space to figure it out on his own. And I think she's doing that pretty well right now. It seemed like to me, other than the fact that they're still bankrolling him. He lives in the house. Somehow he's still buying weed. He doesn't have a job. Yeah. She's also saying that she's letting him figure it out. She's not babying him through this. She's not walking him through, dragging him through it. She's like, he has to do this for himself. And I think that has got to be so fucking hard as a parent. I really respected that she's gotten there already. I don't know. Parents that I've seen that have gone through this, sometimes it takes years and years and years before they go, oh, I can't do it all for them. Yeah. I'm not, me wanting it really badly and me doing all the things for them isn't actually going to make anything happen.
But I think, I don't want to disparage Mary or say anything bad, but she's making it harder on herself and Robert by him living with her. And I get on its face, all of that. But when you have a drug addict in your family, they have to start another life away from you by themselves on their own to be able to succeed or even have a fraction of success. Because if you're still there, she's probably still some sort of a trigger for him, right? Yeah. And he is probably a trigger for her, right? Being the parent. And when you keep intermingling yourself, it's not going to fully and 100% succeed, meaning he's in treatment or he's in classes or he's sober for X amount of time, right? Consecutively, right? Because he's, like you said, she's bankrolling him. He's still doing drugs. Weed is a drug. Weed, distorts your mind and your thinking and your body. It's still a drug. So whether it's legal or not, it's still a drug that's doing something to his mind and his body. And he's not getting away from that. I mean, he's got a lot of good self-reflection, right, from whatever that rehab was. But I just feel so bad for Mary that she just can't rip that Band-Aid off and be like, she can pay for him to live somewhere, right? Live in a different state, in a sober living, in a treatment. She can pay for that, but she can't be there.
Right there.
That's what I think.
I think you're right. I think everyone that I've seen go through this process, when they are that, Robert Jr. was just in full-blown addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And she was full-blown permissive parent. I mean, she had a kid get married in her house, and she didn't know.
Yeah.
So I think she's making progress as much as he is.
Yeah.
So I think as time goes on, hopefully we'll see her continue to like be able to be a little bit stronger in being supportive, but not permissive of the whole thing.
Yeah. And I'm glad she said that. You know, Robert Sr. said, we're not doing this for him, right? Yeah. We're not supporting him anymore. We're not doing this for him. He has to make these changes. And I don't know that she had that mindset before. That's how I took it. And so I'm glad that Robert Sr. did that. And maybe he's the key to the next step with the two of them. Maybe he needs to say that next sentence where, okay, he can't live here anymore or something like that, right? And explain to her why.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I also wonder how much the rehab facility was giving her that direction as well.
Sure.
And then, and then you can hear that. And then she's like, well, I think you naturally start to go, well, they don't totally understand our dynamic.
Right.
And then Robert Sr. stepping in and going, no.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing what they say.
Yeah.
I'm not having this here.
Yeah.
So good for them. I mean, it's still rough. They're not at the end of the road. They're still in the thick of it. And then back to mother drama. Bronwyn and Heather have lunch.
Yeah.
I love them. I want them to be friends so bad. I am Whitney. I want them to be friends so bad. And they get together for lunch, have their drinks. It's a little bit awkward. And Bronwyn, what I really respect about Bronwyn, what I think Heather respects about Bronwyn, is that she's direct. She's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, the girls you're exhausted. And you know what? I want to bring this up because I feel like I said this and it hit you wrong.
Yeah.
And Heather says, I feel like you were saying that you think I'm not a good enough mom. And I didn't, when Bronwyn said that at the campfire, did you hear that?
No, I absolutely did not hear that. Although, maybe it wasn't the right time to say that story.
Yeah.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, I don't know, because it was so emotional for Heather and she was feeling so vulnerable that trying to make her feel better by saying your story at that point wasn't probably when she should have said it. But again, I did not take it as Heather took it. So
no. And I think Heather is so in her own head.
Yeah.
That she can't get that message, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that's going to filter through when she's feeling self-conscious like that about being a mom, which is the number one thing in her life.
Yeah.
And her being brave enough to say, I'm so ready to not be a full-time mom right now.
Yeah.
That she's on high alert. The only thing that's getting through is well, I'm doing something different than you.
The comparison, yeah.
And she's like, well, fuck off. And it's like, no, that's not what she meant. And I think Bronwyn does a good job of explaining, like, I don't feel like I did a good enough job. You did an amazing job mothering.
Yeah.
You literally exhausted and overwhelmed yourself. You did an incredible, look at how these girls turned out amazing. But, and maybe I'm saying that, but she's like, I feel like I didn't do a good enough job. And now I'm doing this, which is probably not the right choice. Mm-hmm. Which agreed, Bronwyn, this is a terrible idea. Do not have a boyfriend into the house.
Bad.
Don't do that.
2 thumbs down.
So they seem to get to like a better place, but Heather's still pretty defensive. And I think Heather is just not warmed up to Bronwyn yet. She's like, there was just a lot of word salad. And
I love that.
I was like, oh, well, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also a tone that Bronwyn gets when she starts explaining things that I think can come off as a little bit superior and preachy.
Yeah.
Or like too knowledgeable. And it's funny because we know that Bronwyn went to BYU, right? But she got kicked out of school because she got pregnant.
Yes.
So Lisa Barlow throws out while she was talking to Heather that she didn't even go to college. Well, she did technically go to college. And then she worked in finance and made good money in finance.
Yeah.
Without a degree. So Bronwyn apparently doesn't have a degree, but I think she's a fairly intelligent person.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that can come off while she's talking a little...
Sure. I get
high
that.
And mighty. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
And then as Heather just had her lunch with Lisa, now she's having it with Bronwyn. She's like, you really went in guns a-blazing. Why did you think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Is this all retaliatory?
Yeah.
And Bronwyn says that she's really just meeting Lisa where she's at. They had the reunion in New York last year, and she's saying that Lisa continues to come after her on social media and in the press, and so she's just meeting her where she's at.
Yeah.
I think it's retaliatory.
Oh,
but also, I mean, if Lisa was talking shit about me online, I'd probably be like, bitch, this was in the paper. I don't know that I would do it any different. I would love to say I wouldn't do it any differently than Bronwyn. I wouldn't do it as eloquently as Bronwyn, honestly. Basically, Heather counsels her to say, I think you need to have a conversation about this and squash it. And ideally, don't involve all of us in this. We don't want to be in the middle of all this, which is incorrect. Heather 100% wants to be involved in this. That's why she took it to Lisa.
Yeah.
But it's cute. It's cute that she, I think, even believes herself when she's saying that.
Yeah.
So Amy's Saturday social. Amy is what they don't have a socialite circle in Salt Lake City, except for 100% they do. Which is the vibe I got.
Did you Google this Amy person? I did.
No, did you?
I did.
Tell me about Amy.
I did. Amy is a founder and owner of a very lucrative med spa. That's it.
Oh.
That's it.
So she's like a bigger Heather.
Correct. That's it. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Amy looks great.
There you go.
In this social that she had, it was at their ranch.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I mean, the ceiling was awesome. Like, who has a gorgeous like an event ceiling space like that? Yeah.
And they have the red carpet, and they had as Seth said when he and Meredith walked up, there's like a wall of greenery.
Weird.
And then you ring a bell, and then two hands shoot out of the greenery, giving you champagne glasses.
Weird.
And Seth called it a glory hole of champagne.
Look at Seth.
Seth is housewiving better than his wife is right now.
It's so weird.
Everyone is there, including all of the husbands, except for Todd. Todd wasn't there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And even fucking Jared.
That's the best. I loved this.
Oh, stop.
And I want to say, Seth tried really hard to make this a whole thing, but you can't compete with what happened with the women. But we really need to give Seth his due because he starts hammering Jared, and he's like, so you're in love, but you're not madly in love. And Jared's like, no, we're madly in love. He's like, not enough to marry her. And you could see Jared's just like,
awesome. And
then John jumps in and starts going, oh, so you don't like her that much. What's going on? And
messy.
These men are getting messy, and I love it.
I loved it.
Seth
so
is
much.
really good at that.
Yeah.
Seth he deserves extra credit points.
God, yeah.
He's my favorite husband right now.
Right.
He's always going to say something too much. Right? He's always going to say something inappropriate.
Yep.
He's always going to say something awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. He just
really
drops a turd and runs. You know, that's what he does. He doesn't stick around. He just drops it and leaves.
Good for you. Seth tried really hard to give this episode something, and it would have been if it wasn't already something else.
Yeah.
Which is, they're at this I guess like an afternoon social.
Yeah.
Which is glamorous.
Yeah. Understand.
Everyone's drinking. It's a cocktail party, but everyone's in evening wear.
Yeah.
at like 2 p.m.
Right. Okay.
Also, I think Amy, who is the host, her outfit was Mary's confessional outfit. With the diamonds.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you both wear it.
I love
Twins.
It. Twinners. Beautiful.
But yeah, so they start talking about, there's the Park City OGs there. Heather's like, are any of them single? Heather is like, I told you it was a booby dress. Heather is horny.
Yes, my God.
She is trying to get laid, but she's always been like this, and this is fun.
Pretty great.
Horny, drunk Heather is so fun. I love her.
Yeah.
Good for her. I hope she gets it. All the girls are there. Lisa comes in last. She has this fashionably late entrance that she makes, and she basically is ready to go in guns a-blazing. Mm-hmm. And she feels like these women have no right to say anything because she lives her life in the light. She's open and transparent about everything. Lisa talks to Meredith because she kind of wants to confront her about the fact that she didn't stand up for her. Yeah. And Meredith is like, yeah, a lot happened. And she kind of gives little tidbits here and there, but it kind of seemed like she was like, I wasn't a bad friend in this. And I feel like Lisa goes, okay, you're fine. We are cool. Because Lisa throws a couple people under. And then Brittany shows up. And you and I said last episode, I was like, Brittany said that Lisa's like a sister since when? And they see each other, and apparently they are like sisters. They're so fucking excited to see each other. Brittany is desperate. That's just her in general.
Yeah, she drops the one comment that Heather didn't tell her about.
Yeah. Ugh. So she immediately tells her that Angie had said that whatever Lisa's in trouble for is similar to what Jen Shaw did, which in the moment, I don't like Angie, but I will give her that she walked it back pretty quickly. She's like, it was a bad joke. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah. It was not a bad joke, but you went too far. But you immediately walked it back. But now she can't because that's getting brought to Lisa. Lisa goes to go confront Angie. Yeah. And Angie had seen everyone's watching each other have conversations from across the room. It was pretty funny. And as things get louder and heated, they just keep editing in people around them scowling and going, what are these trashy women? Yes. And our nice Saturday social, and they're being so loud and fighting, and it just keeps escalating. Yeah. So Lisa goes to Angie and says, do you want to explain to me what's going on? And Angie's like, well, you tell me what Brittany said so I can clean up the mess. Angie talks a big game and acts like she's going to have the fight, but then immediately is like, it wasn't even that bad. What do you mean?
White flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
She was not going to have that fight. And as they're having that back and forth, and Lisa's kind of coming after her. Mary is us, by the way. She's watching it. This is People's Princess Mary. Yeah. Is watching it happen. She's not really on anyone's side. No. She's just enjoying it and wants to know what's going on. Yep. I fucking love Mary.
Yeah, and making oral commentary like, oh my God, you did not just say that. Oh, girl. What?
Like, oh, this is getting serious.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
But Lisa, so explain to me what happened. And Angie goes, listen, Bronwyn came with facts and documents, which Bronwyn didn't actually bring any documents. She just brought up that she had seen stuff in the paper. Yeah. But Bronwyn hears her name and goes, this is when I want to come in. I wish Bronwyn hadn't come in at that time. Yeah, me too. This whole thing was actually magical and exactly why we watched the show. But I wish Bronwyn had waited to at least let Angie and Lisa sort it out between them before jumping in, because she interrupted. Yeah. You know? Like, there was some more that could have been hashed out there, so at least that could have been settled before. Yeah. But instead, Bronwyn's like, you're not mad at Angie, you're mad at me for bringing it up. So let's have it. Let's do this fight. Bronwyn came prepared. And Lisa thought that she was prepared and was not, in my opinion. So, because she's like, Bronwyn didn't go to college. She's not a lawyer. She didn't go to law school. She doesn't know what we're talking about. And she's like, no, you're dismissed. Get out of here. We don't need you. And even Meredith's like, this isn't good timing. Meredith saw what happened. And Meredith's like, stop. Not a good time. Just wait a minute. Yeah. And Bronwyn said no and continued to dive in. Meredith did her best. So again, Meredith is exactly where we want her.
Oh my God. They break away to the men and it is so perfect. It's so perfect. Loved it so much.
It's very playful. What these guys are doing. It's all in good fun. But they're like, so you're not madly in love with her is my favorite thing.
I know. They were just comparing that the women were going fucking nuts and the men are like, so do you love her? Like, I love her so much.
Their little like back and forth would be so like what you expect with girl talk, which speaking of girl talk, this conversation takes a direction that I was not expecting. We have talked about locker room talk before and how there's different like versions of it. Yeah. Men's locker room talk. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to say it. Okay. So Lisa is getting more and more pissed at Bronwyn as Bronwyn's hammering her. Yeah. And Lisa calls Bronwyn a gout dick sucker. Yep.
What? And then they break away to Whitney and she goes, I thought gout was in your feet.
Whitney was genuinely terrified. She's like, I thought that was in your feet. Oh my God.
And then they go back to the fight. Then
they go back to the fight.
God.
So she's talking about
Bronwyn's Amex, right?
Bronwyn's Amex. Basically, the story goes, she's like, I made a comment, a joke to Lisa 5 years ago that I needed to get my Amex bill paid, so I needed to distract Todd with a I gotta go give him a blowjob. Yeah. And to get him to pay my Amex bill. And it was kind of iconic. She's like, my Amex bill comes in a box, not an envelope. That's how big it is. So sometimes I need to distract him. Yeah. That is girl locker room talk. Right. Like, that's a funny joke. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
I loved that.
And Lisa repeats gout dick sucker a couple times, which really offends some old men behind them. Yeah. It was very fun. Yeah. And Bronwyn is unfazed. And she looks over at Whitney and goes, do you suck dick? And Whitney goes, yeah, because we all know Whitney definitely does. And she goes, I do too. I enjoy doing that, actually. I like having sex with my husband. I'm unfazed. And then Lisa's like, well, you didn't like him in Mexico. And Bronwyn's like, yeah, I'm married and there's ups and downs. And I think that's just a thing that happens. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about our lawsuits. They just keep having these back and forths of Lisa freaking out and throwing insults. Be like, you're disgusting. Yeah. You don't have a college education. You don't know how to read these lawsuits. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. These are lies. Yeah. And Bronwyn's like, lawsuit. Here's what's going on with it. And honestly, if the lawsuit stuff is true, one, I think it will get dismissed, but two, that does really suck. But it seems like John's still with her, so that hasn't. We'll see how that plays out this season. But then Lisa says to her that I'm going to start a website with all of her lies. Yeah. And then Bronwyn goes, oh, so you're going to retaliate with a negative online campaign? Yeah, you've done that to all of us before. Like, every single thing that Lisa says, she's throwing out defensively / offensively as a way to wage war in this argument. Bronwyn is slapping down over and over and over again. And I don't know if at the end of the season I'm going to be on her side, because clearly, like, you're kicking Lisa when she's down. This is the same thing. We weren't allowed to do this to Whitney. Yeah. But now we're doing it to Lisa. Yeah. The double standard that you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know whose side I'm going to be on at the end of this, but this fight, this battle, Bronwyn fucking killed it. It was such a good argument. And I felt bad for Lisa, but also it was like one of the most well-structured takedowns I've seen in Real Housewives in a long time. Across all seasons, I think. All right, so that's my feelings. You are a Lisa stan. I love Lisa. Yeah. But I'm also a Bronwyn stan. You're not a fan of Bronwyn. How did you feel about the fight?
Here's the thing. When you talk about these lawsuits, because that's kind of what I do for a living. Yeah. The first thing I think about, because this is what I'm trained in my job is, why all of the sudden is this person coming forward now? Why now? Do you know why? Because she's on a TV show. Do you know why? Because he wants to be mentioned. It's very shady. It's very cringy. And it's very bad. It's just bad. And so, you see these celebrities that get sued for money, right? Like Cardi B, because they have money, because they want, the other person wants their name in the press and in the news and on social media. And these celebrities have to defend themselves and go, look, this is not how this was. This person is shady. This person is trying to shake me down because I have money and because I'm on a TV show. I think that's kind of what's happening with this person. Whether she did it or not, I think is irrelevant to me. The reason why he's coming forward is relevant to me. And that's what I'm trained to think of in my job, which bothers me a lot. And I think that's where her headspace is too.
Well, even Lisa says they don't go after the bottom, they go after the top.
Right.
So,
right. She's not wrong. So,
yeah.
I mean, this loser person, whoever it is, whether she did it again is inconsequential, and whatever the year has lapsed that he should have come forward and filed all this stuff. But he's doing it now on purpose, I think. And again, I'm not a Bronwyn fan, and I don't think I ever will. I like once in a while stuff that she says. I'm unhappy that she went after Lisa so hard in front of everybody in a social setting on purpose, and she just didn't back down. And
no,
you don't have any empathy for another human being. And then we see a clip for next week where she's talking to Todd saying, what Lisa said to me, I'm really having a hard time dealing with, and it really hurt my feelings. Fuck off, Bronwyn. Of course. You should. You should. But you don't take a step back as a human being and say, yeah, we're going at her a little bit much when we weren't allowed to do that with Whitney. She doesn't have that forethought, and if she does, she doesn't care. And that's why I think she's a snake. She's a snake in the grass. She's a liar. Whether she has good quips or not, I don't really care. But Lisa is so emotional because, right, this is obviously personal to her. And she's doing the best that she can. And obviously she knows it's out there, right? And none of her friends are standing between her and Bronwyn going, stop.
No, everyone, it was wild. Everyone just stood there and watched. Meredith tried. Meredith started and went, nope, let's not.
Yeah, she
and then
tried.
Went, I'm not getting in this.
I can't.
I think that I love Lisa. I do. I just love Lisa. She's so wild to me. And it sucks because she is spiraling out. And unfortunately, she just was not in a place to handle that in a calm way. Yeah. Like, there was no way that she just was not going to.
Yeah.
If she had the ability, I wish John had stayed with her, I know. If she had the ability to go, I'm not having this conversation. The truth will come out. Yeah. This is all being dismissed.
Yeah.
I'm not. But instead, she was so in her lizard brain, her fight or flight, that she's just throwing shit everywhere, trying to get some kind of traction. Yeah. And she was unhinged.
Yeah. And I was thinking of watching that was with Beverly Hills Housewives with Erica Jane and the whole Tom lawsuit, where every single one of them went after Erica, and they're like, you had to have known. You had to have known. Where's the money?
Yeah.
Why don't you give back the earrings? Where's the money? And they didn't give her a pause or a second to even attempt to explain in a calm way. And she just attacked them right back because it was so difficult for Erica. And it was really hard to watch that whole year of them just constantly coming after her for what Tom did. And I'm not saying that there's that comparison with Lisa and John. I'm just saying that the friend group went after Erica.
These women who I think are typically, Erica, before everything went down, was kind of like one of the richest women in that group. Mm-hmm. And the coolest and the hottest, kind of, right? And then you've got Lisa, who, at least in her own mind, is the richest, coolest, hottest, most powerful, right?
Yeah, true.
And then we have these women backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And they are freaking the fuck out. And they lash out. I mean, Erica, that season, she was savage. And I think that we're going to watch Lisa do the same thing because things are calling up her. She's getting seen in this light. I will say, she did go after Bronwyn. She wasn't sweet or nice on the internet. She didn't back off. She just kept going. So Bronwyn's like, all right, let's go, bitch.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm not saying that she's right for doing it because I think that you're looking at Lisa Barlow watching her unravel. Yeah. She's always been a yeller and she's like, I'm going to yell over you to win. Yeah. But she's not stable right now. And Bronwyn's like, I'm going to kick the shit out of you when you're down. Yep. Which was probably super satisfying, but we'll see how this all shakes out as the season goes.
But nobody's allowed to do it to Whitney.
Yeah, but Whitney's
super frustrating.
I have 6 cats. And one of my cats has brain damage. She's the sweetest, prettiest one of all of my cats, but she is dumb. And that is Whitney. We need to be nicer to her. She also always has her ass in the air, just like Whitney.
Yeah.
Just be nice. But as far as like Housewife Takedown.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
It was strong.
Yeah. I know.
But I am excited for the presentation with poster boards.
What was
that Lisa will have about the court cases for everyone.
What? We're all just in a conference room and we've all made, what are those called? Those boards that before you read, what the heck is that word? Do you know what I'm saying? When they write up the storyboard. The storyboard. Yeah. They all have a storyboard. What?
She's got like a science project poster. Here's all of them. They're all dismissed. And she's in a cowboy hat.
Right.
Why? Oh, thank you.
I can't wait.
Thank you, Lisa Barlow. I'm not going to ever, even when Lisa Barlow's wrong, I'm going to watch it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love her. I love watching her.
Yeah.
So, exciting. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for next week. This week. So, I don't know. Does it fall into true crime? It just falls into interesting documentary that Keeley found.
I don't know, I guess. I mean, just something that I watched, and I thought about how we did last year an episode like it, and I really liked that episode, and I thought, we haven't talked about this in a minute, so I don't know.
And no one was murdered, so let's jump into it.
True crime story time. Whispers in the dark. Truth leaves a mark. True crime story time.
Yeah, so I watched on HBO, and I think you could probably watch it on Discovery, maybe also Discovery Plus, but it was on HBO, and it was one of those shock documentaries, and it's called The Visitors, and obviously it's about aliens. And no clue. It had come out a couple years ago. No clue anything about it. So it was really, really good. And I texted you and said, we need to talk about this because I watched it and I got scared. I got scared. because,
the tone was very interesting to me.
Yeah, so it's about this alien abduction back in the 1980s for this well-known author named Whitley Strieber, and it is a man. And when they said he wrote the books The Wolfen and The Hunger, I had known about the book The Wolfen and the movie, and I hadn't known about the movie or the book The Hunger, but I Googled them. Did you look those up?
I only knew about The Hunger, and that had like Susan Sarandon in it, right?
Yes. Vampire.
I knew about that.
Yes.
I didn't know that it was based on a book, and I didn't know that he wrote the other. I don't know about Wolfen.
So yeah, he's kind of a horror writer. Wolfen is about a pack of werewolves, and then the other one was about vampires. The show starts out with this incredible audio taping of him being under hypnosis. And have you ever seen the movie The Fourth Kind? It has
Close Encounters?
No. Mila Jovovich in it. It's called The Fourth Kind. Not The Third Kind. The Fourth Kind. So that came out a couple years ago also. It was kind of this mockumentary. They pretended it was real, but it's not. In Nome, Alaska. And she's a therapist. And so she starts to have these clients, these patients come in saying, I can't sleep at night. I feel like there's an owl in my room. And then my wife finds me screaming and I don't know what's going on. So she puts them under hypnosis. Then they're basically telling her that they've been abducted by aliens through this hypnosis session. And it's very good. I recommend it. You should watch it. Anyway,
so it kind of maybe is based on this story.
I don't have any idea. Maybe. But when I'm talking about the audio recording of Whitley being under hypnosis in the movie with Mila Jovovich, the screaming that these people do are just exactly like the screaming that this man does. It is visceral. It is gut-wrenching. You can feel it in your body when you're listening to him being under hypnosis. And he's screaming, they're there, they're here. I don't want him there, right? I'm scared. And he's crying. And it's very emotional to listen to this hypnosis recording. And he even says, in the beginning, this is not for children. This will make children upset if they listen to this recording. So don't let anybody with children listen to this. So that literally just starts out from the gate listening to him under hypnosis. And then it goes to this clip of him being on Larry King Live in the 80s, right?
Oh my God.
Talking
Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Well, they show the clip of the intro, and there's the announcer, and he goes, "They are out there, and they could be coming to get you." Like, it's so pleasant. It's like, that's fucking terrifying.
Right. No, I don't think so. And Larry King's just going to make fun of him, right? That's what they do. And I feel bad. But, he's talking to Whitley, and it's in the 80s. And, Larry King obviously is alive, 1, 2, and has dark hair, 3, right?
1986.
Yeah. And so Larry says, okay, will you just tell us how this whole thing started? He wrote a book. Whitley wrote a book named Communion about his alien abduction in 1985, and that's why he's on Larry King. But Larry says, for anybody who doesn't know what happened, will you tell us what happened? And so Whitley says, yeah, it was Christmas Day, 1985. My wife and my young son and myself are driving up to upstate New York to a cabin that we have. And it's a beautiful day, and everything just couldn't be more lovely. It's snowing. It's wonderful. The cabin up there is a little bit isolated in the woods. Nobody's around, and they're just going to have some beautiful family time. But then he says, and then it just ended. He went to sleep, and we go back to listening to his audio recording under hypnosis, and he's again screaming, they're here, I see them, I hear them. He says, they're standing at the door. He's in his room asleep. And he says, they're standing beside my bed. And I see a face, but it has a mask on it with 2 eye holes. And he says he's terrified and he's scared, but he can't move. And he's laying in bed watching this thing next to him. And he says then a group of them all of a sudden come at him. And then he ends up outside. So he was in his room. Now he's outside in his yard, in his backyard on a cot. And then he says, all of a sudden, then they take me into this clearing into the woods, and I'm still laying on this cot. And he said, I'm sitting inside this circle in the snow. We start to go up like you're in an elevator. And he's like, I see the trees and the clouds passing me as I'm going up. But he said it feels like when you're in an elevator and you're going really fast and your stomach kind of drops. And then he says he's in this little room and he's completely terrified because he's not quite sure if he's awake or if he's asleep or if this is a dream. He's not, but he's conscious. He knows what's going on. And he says there's these little like beings in front of him doing other things. And he says it kind of smells like cheese in the room. It doesn't smell good in this room. Now there's this taller figure, this kind of willowy figure. He thinks this person or this thing is the leader, but he also gets the idea that this thing is a female entity or something. And so he says, I ask this female figure, are you old? And she says, yes, I'm old. And he says, I start to look at her really, really close. And he says that this figure puts her cheek up next to his face. And he says that this female says, we're going to do an operation on your brain. And he says, what do you mean an operation? No, you don't have my permission to do this operation. And you absolutely have no right. And she says, we do have a right to do this operation. He says, he's thinking to himself, I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to wake up. I don't know what's going on, but I can't get out of what's happening. He's feeling scared. He doesn't know what to do. He then says, he asks if he can smell her because he thinks if I have some other part of my senses, I can tell myself if this is real or not. So if I can't smell anything, maybe it's not real. So she leans down and he smells her and he says she smells like cinnamon. And so then he says, okay, I've smelled something. I think this is real. So then the creatures, the little strange creatures that are running around, he calls them the blue ones, and they have a box. They open this box. They show this box to him, and they open it, and they show him this needle, and he knows somehow that they're going to put this needle in his head, and he thinks to himself, you're going to ruin a really great mind by scrambling my head, putting this needle in my head. He says they put the needle in his head. It doesn't hurt, but he can hear this cracking sound inside of his head. And then he says they take the needle and they thrust it into his rectum, and they're moving around back there. And he says it's pinching and I can feel it inside of me, but it's pinching me. And he doesn't feel good. And then he says, I just wake up the next day. He goes, I have a vague memory of what happened, but he goes, I'm not really sure if it was real or what was going on. So he kind of thinks he's crazy. He just tries to remember, and he says, all I remember are these big black eyes. He thinks that maybe an owl got into his bedroom last night because he's really trying hard to remember what happened, and he just can't. So he tells his wife, I think an owl came in the room last night. She looks at him like he's absolutely out of his mind. No, there wasn't an owl in here last night. He also sees that he has a red mark on the side of his head. So he's thinking, okay, well, right, I have this red mark. He starts to remember somebody putting a needle in his head, and he's not quite sure what to do. He's really, really scared. He doesn't tell anyone. He doesn't tell his wife. He doesn't tell anyone what happened. his wife comes on and says, we were a really happy couple. We did a lot of things together. And then all of a sudden he changed. There was something going on. And he seemed disturbed and agitated and angry all the time.
Yeah.
So Whitley says, I just can't get it out of my mind. So I end up going to see a medical doctor. He goes to a doctor. Kudos to him, because doctors are going to look at you and go, you are fucking nuts. They're going to immediately put you in a mental institution, right? But good for him to trust his doctor. So he goes to the doctor and he says, I think something happened. Will you give me an exam? So the doctor does a rectal exam, and the doctor says, Whitley, you have a lesion down here. You've been raped. For a man to have those words said to him, he says, I just am in shock. I don't know what to do. And the doctor says, okay, let's do some psychological tests and let's do some medical tests, some blood tests. And we'll see what comes back. We'll see how everything goes. Whitley then says, he thinks to himself, what happens in a marriage if one spouse or partner is unfit in the marriage? How do you do that? So he looks it up and he says, if one party becomes mentally ill, the other party is going to have a really hard time divorcing that person. And he's like, I don't want my wife to have to go through that, because he thinks he's insane. He thinks he's crazy. His doctor told him he was raped, that he has a lesion in his rectum. He doesn't know what to do. So he starts to pick fights with his wife on purpose. And she will get so mad at these fights. And then he will launch back at her, why don't you just divorce me? Just leave me. Just divorce me. Just leave me.
And this is just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
He's acting like this.
Yeah. She has no idea what's happening. So Whitley finally, all the tests come back normal. The psychological tests, medical tests, everything comes back normal. So Whitley says, I need to tell somebody what happened. So he picks a male friend named Timothy. He calls Timothy, goes over to Timothy's house, and tells him what happened. He tells him the real story. And his friend says, I'm not sure what to believe, because my friend is telling me a story that I can tell he believes. This thing happened to him. And so I'm looking at my friend going, okay, I know you believe this happened to you. You need to tell your wife. If you believe it this much, you need to tell Annie what's going on. Tell your wife. So he says, I finally do. I finally tell her, let's have a discussion one evening. And his poor wife is thinking he's going to say, I want a divorce. It's over. Yeah. We're done, because of all the fighting and all the arguments that they've had. And she's not quite sure what's going on because he's acting differently. And Whitley tells her the whole story, about these things being in the bedroom, going outside in the cot, being taken up into this room, having the needle put in his head, put in his rectum. And her response is, oh, thank God you don't want a divorce. What? I love her so much. I love this woman so much.
It kind of blew my mind. She was like, oh, yes. I'm so relieved.
I was so relieved when you told me that.
You don't want to fight with me. You just got raped by an alien. Okay.
What? Oh, this woman is a treasure. A national treasure.
Well, she's a writer, too.
Yeah. She's incredible. So they start to talk, and they come up, I wonder if anybody else has had an experience like this, right? You can't be the only person out there. Whitley says his brother sent him a book called Science and the UFOs by a researcher named Bud Hopkins. And Bud Hopkins is from the Manhattan alien abduction on Netflix. We did a podcast about that. And he is huge in alien abduction research. And so in the back of the book, there's an alien abduction experience after the book that Whitley's like, this kind of is kind of the same thing that I went through. And the book, so he calls Bud, and Bud writes another book called The Intruders about another alien abduction story. And so then we get to meet Debbie, who is the person based on this book that Bud writes. Debbie's experience was she was at her parents' house in Indiana, and she said outside in the backyard there was a shed and the lights were going off in the shed one night. So she went out there. She took a shotgun out there to check on the shed, and she got close to the shed, and all of a sudden she felt like she was getting sunburned. Like there was so much heat on her skin, and there was this bright light, and she wasn't sure what was going on. So then all of a sudden, after the light goes away, she says there's these 6 little gray guys that come out from behind the shed, and they're just kind of standing there staring at me. And then she says she sees this UFO craft, and she draws a picture of it. And it looks like if you take an egg and you cut it in half, and it has this long arm that comes out from the top of it that reaches the ground, and it has a bunch of windows on it. And she said it was 8 feet in diameter. But then she said she felt like something was stabbing her in the ear, like a knitting needle. And it was really, really hot. It went inside of her ear. And then she remembers passing out, calling for her mom. And she said the entire time lapse was about 90 minutes. This whole seeing these people, seeing the light, feeling it in her ear, seeing this craft. And then she says she just wakes up the next day. She goes out to the backyard, and there is these marks in her backyard, right where she remembers where this UFO was. And so Whitley calls Bud Hopkins. Bud Hopkins tells Whitley to get in touch with this forensic hypnotist, the psychiatrist that does hypnosis, and his name is Dr. Klein. And we find out that Dr. Klein, through all these hypnosis, has solved 72 different crimes with putting people under hypnosis and doing these regressions. So Whitney feels really comfortable doing this hypnosis session with him. And that's the audio recording that we're hearing in the beginning, is him doing this session with Dr. Klein. And so they do it on March 1st, 1986. So Whitley's abduction was Christmas Day. So, 3 months or so afterwards, 2.5 months later. And we hear him screaming again. He's just in terror. He's terrified. I don't know another word to explain how scared this man is.
It was awful.
Yes. So he's screaming out things like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing to me?" And they try and play this recording back to Whitley, the production that's making this documentary. And the poor man cannot listen to himself on this audio recording, because he says he immediately gets thrown back to being in that situation and being so scared and feeling how viscerally scared he was. And so he's like, I can't listen to it, turn it off. In these hypnosis session, we find out that Whitley has memory from the previous October that he didn't have, I guess, outwardly remembered. I don't know what the right word is, right? So under hypnosis,
it resurfaced memory.
Yeah, he has this resurfaced memory from October where he and Annie had 2 friends over named Jock and Annie, another lady named Annie, two friends that came over for the cabin for dinner one night and played games and chatted, and then they all just went to bed. Apparently their friends, Jock and Annie, their bedroom was on the first floor underneath Whitley and his wife, their bedroom. And so he says in this hypnosis, he starts screaming out, "Who the hell are you?" He said, "I saw something that looked like it had a hood on its head, but it's standing over in the bedroom by the wall, and it's just looking at me." And he's like, "I don't want it to be there." And he's just screaming this over and over. "I don't want it to be there. I don't want it to be there." And he said it wasn't human, but it wasn't an animal either. He said it had something in his hand, or something that looked like a hand, and it like struck at him. It reached out towards him, and he wasn't quite sure what was happening, but he said it was like an electric, I don't know, like an electric wave or something that had hit him from this thing standing in his room holding it. And he said it hit him in the chest and it hit him in the forehead. And when it did that, he said he was forced to see the past and the present. Like this thing had done something to his brain. And he said in his hypnosis session that he saw, apparently in the present, he sees this nuclear blast go off. He sees this big mushroom cloud, and he doesn't quite know what's going on, but he knows, right, this is what the earth is going to blow up. We're going to have this nuclear bomb or something go off. And he is talking to this entity going, why don't you like me? Why are you doing this? I don't know what this is about. And he says it reaches its arm out to try and help him. And he doesn't want anything to do with this thing reaching for him. And then he says that he sees his son dying in this nuclear blast, and the whole world is on fire. And he's really upset about it. And then he says he starts to see his dead father. Like, his dad had died from a heart attack when Whitley was a young man-ish, and hasn't seen his father, hasn't talked about his father for years and years now. But now he's having visions of his father, and he's talking to his father in this hypno session saying, you know, I didn't know you. I'm sorry you died from a heart attack. And we get to see actual pictures of his dad, these black and white photos. And so Whitley now starts to realize that these visitors, these aliens, are intermingling with the dead somehow, which is a fascinating idea that I don't know that I've ever heard or thought about before.
No, I think this is the first time that kind of thing has been introduced. And I'll be honest, in this moment, right before this scene, I was sitting there and I was thinking, you know, I am very much a skeptic of like this whole thing. Yeah. And of aliens, and then also of the spirituality side of it. But I would also say more recently, I mean, as I get older, I'm more open to more things. Like, not necessarily that I believe them, but more that I'm not just immediately denying. Like, no. Yeah. But in the big scheme of things, if I'm to think about it, I would say I think that reasonably, logically, I would say aliens exist sooner than I would be like ghosts exist. Yeah. Right? But in my day-to-day life, conversationally and like just through, grandma died last year.
Yeah.
So we've had more and more conversations about the afterlife and conversations with our family about things like that. So, and I would say I've been more open to that realm of things when logically I could see aliens happening sooner than I could be like, there's another plane of existence. But then I've been dismissive of one and very accepting of the other. And then in this thing, they tie it together in a way that I was like, well, that's really interesting. Yeah. The guy from Blink-182, I think, said that alien spacecrafts and things like that are actually traveling through time, and they're just humans traveling through time, and that's what he thinks. Yeah. That's one of the things I've heard before. And so I feel like this is just another version of that theory. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting.
No, I can completely get behind that. I totally get that. So this experience, he finds out, is October 4th of 85. And he had the one that he wrote the book on, Christmas Day of 1985. And so he asks his wife, did you hear or see anything that day in October or that night when I was in bed? And she said, I didn't hear or see anything that night. So then Whitley very carefully and graciously goes to his friends, Jacques and Annie, and says, would you be willing to be put under hypnosis? But he doesn't tell them why. And they're like, hey, why not? Sure. Totally. So they're both put under hypnosis. And it comes out that they have remembered either seeing something or hearing something that night in October, where Jacques said he saw a flash of lights. And Annie said she heard noises from their bedroom above them and people like walking back and forth. So she heard footsteps.
And the creepiest part of that, where she was like, I don't know if it was walking on two legs or more.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Whitley hears this and he was like, okay, now I know I'm not crazy. They at least heard or saw something that same night. And so he gets together with a police sketch artist to make an image of what he saw with the dark eyes and the mask, which comes out as the cover for his book, The Communion, which we find out in the 80s, there really was no image. Nobody was talking about aliens. Nobody was talking about being abducted by aliens. And so his image becomes really the first image that we see in society of what aliens look like.
Just that classic alien face.
Right. And
it's on all the stickers.
Right.
And like bongs in the side of vans.
Sure.
90s t-shirts.
Yeah. And so Annie convinces him to write this book and write down his story. And Whitley's like, I know people aren't going to believe me. And she says, we don't care. We want to see if anybody else has had this experience. And he writes this book. And they say he has the experience, writes the book, and gets it published all within a year, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And the book becomes an instant bestseller on the New York bestseller list. And people then start to say, well, if they were real, why wouldn't they land on the White House and just show us who they are? Mm-hmm. And other people say, because we're not ready for that, because we can't handle it, because humans are flawed and emotional and just stupid. So we can't handle the fact that them just showing up one day. That's why they don't do it. And so his book becomes this instant hit. That's why he's on Larry King to talk about it. And people look at that image and they just buy the book. They read the book, and we find out thousands of people have had some sort of alien encounter, whether it's just driving down the street and they look up in the sky and they see something like a UFO, or they literally have had something in their home, in their bedroom, or they've been abducted. And so his career takes off really well with the book. And Annie says, his wife, my husband put our address in the back of the book for people to write and say, yes, I've had this experience. I don't feel so alone anymore. And they go to the post office, but they get so many thousands and thousands of letters at the post office. The post office is like, we're taking this to your house. You may not use the post office anymore. So they have...
keep it here. There's too much.
There's too much. So they have all of these letters. These postmen show up at their houses with 3 huge bags, thousands and thousands of letters. They dump on their lawn, on their front room floor. And people are saying, thank you for writing this down, or I respect you, or I'm a sane and normal person too, but I've had this happen to me. So they start literally reading through 500,000 letters that they get from people all over the place. They get one letter from a lady named Lori Barnes, who had an encounter in the 50s when she was pregnant and her husband played the piano and was gone one night at a gig, and she's asleep. And she said that she heard this noise, and all of a sudden there were 3 little beings rushing into her room. And she said they stood at the foot of her bed and they just looked at her. She's the cutest little lady. Anyway, she said
so cute.
The third one comes closer to her, and she said his skin was sort of gray, but he was just terribly ugly. She said it so eloquently and so beautifully. He was just terribly ugly. And this thing says, you don't have to be afraid of us. We're not going to hurt you. We are just interested in the little girl that you're carrying. And side note, I was super disturbed at that sentence, because why do they want to kidnap this baby? Are they going to come after her? Why would they say we're really interested in this baby? Or is it just so benign that they're like, we've never seen a pregnant person before,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, she said they told her, you're carrying this little girl. And she said back in the 50s, we didn't know what we were having. There was no sonograms. There's no ultrasounds. People don't do that. I had no idea.
I'm not even that old. And they didn't know that I was going to be a girl.
Yeah. So this thing says to her, why do you fear us so much? Why are you so scared? And she says again, because you're so ugly. And this thing says to her, my dear, one day you will look just like us. What is happening? Right? Now you've got to figure out, okay, were they on this planet before us? Were they humans before us? Now they're so far in advance, right? Like you said, they're traveling through time. This is what we're all going to end up looking like. But anyway, she said 2 months later, I gave birth and it was a little girl. So Whitley and his wife are so fascinated by this story. They call her and she goes to meet with them in person and ends up, being a secretary and a helper for his wife.
So cute.
It's super cute to read all of these letters.
Whitley's wife is the most supportive wife in the world.
Oh my God. Again, a national treasure that I don't know that a spouse, male or female, would say.
I don't know. I think if Matt was like, I got abducted by aliens. I don't want a divorce. There's aliens involved. I don't know that I would be like, oh my God, write a book about it.
No.
That sounds great. Good job.
It would be like, deet, 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 911. I need an ambulance and a straitjacket, right? I know.
Yeah.
Most people are going to be like, no. They tell us that they still have all the original letters and they are housed at Rice University, which is fascinating. I love that they still have all these people's letters. We go back to another woman. She tells us a story, another letter that's written about this woman and her daughter that are driving in New Mexico, and they're driving on the freeway, and they see this light above their car, and so they stop the car, and it's a spacecraft or a UFO hovering above their car. She says in her letter that her and her daughter both go up into this UFO, and they do physical exams. They're taken into rooms. They do physical exams on both her and her daughter, medical exams. And the beings tell the mom that they're from another world, and that they tell the mom that the mom is a member of their family. Wait, what? I don't know what that means. I am just scared for this lady. Like, listening to some other worldly thing going, yeah, you're my Aunt Tilly.
We're related.
What?
We know each other.
I don't know. She said after the exams, they find themselves back into the car. And her daughter says, they told me they were sorry that I have bugs in my body and they couldn't get rid of them and that I'm going to die soon. Ugh. This is like a 6 or 7-year-old child telling her mother this. And they go home and the mom says the daughter comes down about 2 months later with an incurable cancer. And she ends up dying from it. So those are the kind of stories that are being written to Whitley. So then they start to say, we wonder if it's about the place or about the person specifically, or even the family, because this being represented to this woman, you're a part of our family. So they start to think, well, is there any generational connection with Whitley and his family? And Whitley finds out that he has an uncle that's a colonel in the Air Force, and his uncle was present at Wright Field when the Roswell incident happened, and the debris was brought in from the incident to the Air Force. And his uncle was told by the general at the time not to talk about it, and he didn't see anything. He doesn't know anything. But his uncle says, I saw it. I saw that it wasn't a balloon. And I saw the debris, and I saw what they brought in, this being that they brought in. And he explains that he knows another general named General Exum that Whitley gets to talk to also. And he says that there's this memo from Truman's cabinet after this other general named General Twining, and it's called the Twining Memo, that describes the functionality of the craft that they found at Roswell and describes the bodies that they encountered, and that one of them was actually living. They had a living being from that incident. And so Whitley now says, okay, I think they're targeting my family. Like it's a family specific thing, maybe not a location situation. So he then says, my wife really wants to go back to the cabin. I didn't want to go back, but we did anyway. His wife is telling him, we really need to understand what's going on. So we need to go back. So he says, my son is young at the time. I was really afraid for my son. He said, I was so upset and so afraid that I would sit outside his bedroom at night with a shotgun because I didn't want him to go through what I'd gone through.
I found super interesting because there was this dynamic of like, the book is called Communion, which the meeting him and these aliens. And then also it then becomes this kind of galvanizing thing for all of these people who have had these similar experiences. So they're all able to connect it this way as well. But his experience wasn't a positive experience. I mean, he was violated. Yeah. It's an interesting thing where his wife feels very positive about them.
Oh my God, I know.
In this way that he's like traumatized. Mm-hmm. So that part was very confusing to me.
Yeah. And I wonder, I would think most likely trying to keep, by being so positive, trying to keep Whitley down here on Earth, right? And not spiraling, going off into God knows where. Because your mental state and your emotional state can just be like, we're not dealing with this. We're not processing it. We're not coping with it. And we're out. And so maybe she's being so positive to try and keep him grounded. Let's just look at what's going on. Let's read all these other letters. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not crazy kind of a thing. That's what I gleaned from that. But he said one night when he was there, after they went back to the cabin, he woke up suddenly at 3:00 in the morning and he ran downstairs to his son's room and his son was gone. So he ran outside and he went to the backyard and he said he saw this huge craft above the tree line in the woods. And he gets really, really upset because he knows they've taken his son. I don't know. You're so helpless. He can't do anything about it. So he went back in the house, went back into the bedroom, and now his son is back in bed. So he goes, I don't know how much time had lapsed in between, but now my son is back in bed. He said the next morning, they didn't want to upset their son. And he says it's so great. He says, I didn't want to make my son panic. If my son sees that I'm panicking, then my son's going to panic. He said, so we kind of just didn't talk about it. His son did tell him that he had seen this eye looking down on him and he had floated up into the woods. And that's all that his son had told him that had happened. He said a few months later, they were back at the cabin. It was his birthday, Whitley's birthday. And he said in the middle of the day, he starts to feel this strange sensation through his body, like this weird electrical current. And then he says all the electronic devices are going nuts. They're going crazy inside the cabin. And he's seeing these strange images on his television. And so then he starts to understand that, okay, these things are not just going to start happening at nighttime anymore. They're going to happen throughout the day, all day long, into the night. They talk about the location of where Whitley's cabin is, this Hudson Valley, New York. And for some reason, they've had thousands and thousands of sightings of UFOs, specifically in the 80s. We get to see a couple of people that saw a UFO when they're on the freeway, and he said the freeway was completely stopped, and there were hundreds of people get out of their car and looking up into the sky, seeing these big lights. And these UFOs kind of look like a boomerang or a V-shaped. And then they had this other gentleman that apparently is a singer that said he was driving and he saw another light and he got out of his truck. He stopped in the middle of the road, got out of his truck, and this craft was 500 feet above his head, but it was bigger than a 747. And then it just disappeared after like 5 minutes of being there. So Whitley then says 3 years later, in 1989, they have another encounter at the cabin in May of 1989. He said he was lying in bed. It was 11 o'clock at night or so, and he starts to hear some crunching outside on the gravel, like someone is walking. And he said the next thing he knows, he can't move. He's lying in bed. He can't move. And now he can't see anything. Now he's completely blinded. And he feels someone or something pushing his head down really hard and violently into the pillow. And then he has this pain behind his ear. So then he wakes up the next morning and he looks on his pillow and there's some blood specks on his pillow and he's bleeding back there from behind his ear. And now he thinks that they have implanted a device in his head, which is terrifying. Terrifying. So he says it's really bothering him. His ear gets red. It hurts a lot. So he goes to the doctor. Again, class A behavior. Go to a doctor, dude, and say, take this thing out. But he doesn't tell the doctor, right? He thinks it's an alien implant.
Yeah, the doctor's like, oh, it's just a cyst. I got you.
Right. I could take this out. And his wife is there and she's filming. We get to see a video of him doing this little inpatient surgery, right? And the doctor's saying, yeah, you can see that right there. I see something. And his wife is like, yeah, I see this little white disc in there. So the doctor goes with his scalpel to try and get it. And they said, now it disappeared. Whitley said it went down into his earlobe. So it moved. The doctor gets a little scared, I guess, or nervous about it.
Freaked him out, yeah.
Freaked him out. The doctor said, Whitley says, I think he started to put together who I was. I wrote that book. Now he's digging something out of my head, right? He's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. We're done. So he doesn't cut it out. He also says, the doctor also says, look, I'm going to have to mangle and disfigure your ear to get that thing out because I can't get at it. So they stopped the surgery. So to this day, he still has this thing in his head behind his ear. So he's talking to his wife, and here comes the this positive train again. She tells Whitley, well, maybe this is a good thing because maybe now you can communicate with them. It's not a one-way radio. Now you can call them or you can talk to them through this thing that they put in your head. This woman makes, right, lemonade out of lemons here for this poor man. So Whitley is still upset because he's like, are they trying to control my mind? Right? Are they trying to read my mind? Are they trying to monitor me? What are they doing? And his wife is like, no, now you can talk to him. We can talk to him now. So Whitley decides, okay, I'm going to have a couple of these abductees that have written me a letter come and have this kind of outreach at the cabin. He invites some people.
Like a retreat.
Yeah, a retreat.
Yeah.
At the cabin. And he thinks, okay, well, I have all these people together. I think something might happen. If all of these people have had an experience, I've had my experiences, we're back at the cabin, maybe something will happen. So they have this film crew there, and they've got cameras everywhere to videotape anything that goes on. And they all have food and drinks and meditation and chatting, and everybody goes to bed that night. And they do have an encounter. One of the abductees there, her name is Raven. She says she goes to sleep and she wakes up because she's hot, right? I need to open the window. It's hot in the room. So she leans over, opens the window, rolls over to try to go back to sleep. And then she says, something is in my room. I know that there's something in my room. Mm-hmm. And this thing crawls on the bed towards her and reaches out to her with this hand. And she says, my first instinct is to reach out and touch it also. So I reached up and I touched it with whatever this thing was, this hand that it held out to me. And she said, I felt this surge of like electricity go through my body. And that was it. And then I woke up. And so she wakes up in the morning. She tells Whitley and Annie what happened. And he says, okay, write it down, draw, do everything. So she writes, he takes a snap Polaroid of her, writing down what happened. She's drawing a picture of her in bed with this thing crawling on the bed and reaching out for her. And the film crew, nothing gets caught on video in the house because all the devices shut off at the exact time that she said that this happened to her.
And he had been trying to capture something happening in his house for a while.
Yeah.
So they show video. He's been taking video in his house all the time.
Yep.
Security cameras and everything, expecting to see something, and then it just never works.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, these things don't want to be caught on camera for some reason. Yeah. He says one weekend, Lori Barnes, the lady who had the experience in the 50s when she was pregnant, she's up there at the cabin and spends the weekend up there. She goes on a walk one day out into the woods, comes back, and Whitley says she's completely in shock. And he said, what happened? And she said, I saw my brother out there in the woods. Her brother has been missing for years and years. The FBI has declared him dead because they can't find him. Lori explains that her brothers had kind of a rough life with drugs addiction and alcohol. And just one day he just disappeared and they're not quite sure what happened. They don't know. So she has been worried and thinking about him ever since. So she says, I see him standing there and he says to her, well, she says to him, what are you doing here? And he says to her, I came here to tell you that I'm fine and don't worry about me and that you're in the right place. And then she said he just went back into the woods and kind of disappeared. She's telling Whitley this. Whitley's wife says they're going to show up tonight because now they've made this connection between people seeing the dead and the visitors showing up in person at the cabin. And so he starts to think, okay, I wonder if the cabin can be some sort of portal or some entry and exit way for them to come and go on this plane of existence. And so he goes out into the woods to the exact spot where he remembers this circle where he remembers being taken up into the aircraft. And he decides to put these big stones, these big rocks all the way around him. And when I say stone, I don't mean no skipping stone, people.
No,
these things,
each stone could be a bench.
Huge, gigantic cement, bench-looking stones in this circle out there. And they show us this photo of him, standing near the stone circle out there. After that, Whitley is, I guess, not selling as many books. The years go by. He's not selling as many books. And he seems to be blacklisted a little bit. And so he's getting a financial loss. And so they have to sell the cabin to get some sort of way to live, I guess. And he's really upset about it. It's completely devastating for him because he's had holidays there. He's raised his son there. And he just doesn't want to sell it. But he ends up selling it. And in 1995, they moved to Austin, Texas, but he says the visitors come with him. And he has a lot of encounters in Texas. And they always centered around about 3 a.m. in the morning, but they weren't violent anymore. They were like showing up, making sounds in the house, turning on and off lights, going into his room and hitting him on the head, stuff like that. He said then all of a sudden they just kind of stopped. They stopped showing up. And when they stopped showing up, his wife in 2013 comes down with incurable brain cancer. And so she ends up passing away about a year and a half to 2 years later after being diagnosed in 2015. And he tells a story that about a half an hour or so after she passes away, that he gets this phone call from a friend that says, I had Annie telling me to call you. Are you okay? What's going on? Where's Annie? Is she okay? And he says, no, she just passed away. And he said, I remember this conversation I had with my wife a while ago where she said, when I die, I'm going to reach out to our friends and I'm going to have them try and get a hold of you and contact you. And so he thought, okay, she's doing it already. And he said the previous January, before she died, his wife made him memorize a poem called The Song of Wandering Angus by W.B. Yeats. And he didn't understand why she was making him memorize this poem. But the poem goes, when white moths were on the wing and the moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream and caught a little silver trout. That was it. So then he says, right after she passed away, he started seeing white moths everywhere. He was at a business conference one day in February, inside with the windows all closed, and there was a white moth flying around, and he said he took a picture of it, and we get to see this picture of this moth, and he said that his wife has created a physical avatar to signal from the other side. So then, closer to the end of the show, we see these paranormal researchers named Jeff and Melissa who have been talking to us throughout the whole documentary. They go to the cabin now, who has a new owner named Anthony, because they want to kind of do some research on their own. They want to go to the Circle in the Woods and do some paranormal research out there to see if there's any electrical energy. So they go out there with these REM pods that they put just on the 4 stones that are the cardinal
directions.
Right, north, east, west. These REM pods are supposed to go off if they detect any sort of electrical energy. And they start going off and making all of these lights flicker on the actual pods, and then they stop, and then they start making these sequential beep noises that they're wondering, I wonder if this is some sort of Morse code or something that's going on with these noises. And then we find out that Whitley, 3,000 miles away, is now in Santa Monica, California, and he's hearing these same noises also on this like small frequency radios that he has. So they show us the noises that he's hearing, and Whitley has refused and said, I just can't go back to the cabin. I don't want to go back. This is too painful for me. But then when Jeff and Melissa have this kind of experience at the Circle with the noises and the lights, and Whitley experiences these noises, he says, okay, I'll go back just one more time to try and close this chapter of my life, and this is it. I'll be done after this. So we see him drive up to the cabin, and he's really emotional, obviously, about going back to the cabin right now. The family's very gracious, and they let him have his old room that he and his wife had to sleep in. He says, so they have cameras inside the room, right? We're watching him in bed asleep. And he says that about 3 a.m., he sees like this mysterious glow outside the cabin and these lights that are flickering. And so he has this little, I guess, I don't know, last encounter at the cabin. At the end of the show, he's always wondering, are these visitors our destiny, right? Are they future humans returning to warn us to take care of the planet, right? Because we're really not doing a good job right now. Or are they interested in our survival? Are they wanting to tell us, explain to us how to survive, right? He's really interested in wondering what they're doing, why they're here, and what they want to tell us, basically.
Yeah.
He said he goes back to what Lori told him, right? That they said to her one day that you're going to look like us. And he thinks about that and he says, you know, it's hard to explain to something what's going to happen in the future when you know that something is not really going to believe you. And he makes this analogy to caterpillars and butterflies, right? You don't tell a butterfly that it used to be a caterpillar and the other way around. A caterpillar is going to be a butterfly, because both of these things are going to look at you and go, no. What are you talking about? They're not going to believe you, which I thought was a beautiful analogy. But he, at the end of the show, says, look, I've never asked people to believe in little green men. I've never asked people to believe in UFOs. I just wanted to tell people I saw what I saw, and this was very real. And that's it, which I think is so beautiful that he's like saying, believe this, believe this, believe this. He's not. He's just saying, this is what happened to me. And I know that it was real. And it was such a good show. It was so good. I don't know. Like you said, the spiritual connection with these aliens or these beings was so interesting to me, because I have had more, I guess, spiritual encounters. My mom used to have them as well, but I've never, had an alien come to me. I have seen somebody standing at the foot of my bed that I know was not alive. I have seen someone in the mirror in the bathroom that I know is not there and that I know is not alive. And I have seen people in my rearview mirror in the car that I know is not sitting in the back seat, that I know is not alive. And I don't know who these people are, and they're sporadic experiences that I have. And so I tend to lean that way about the spiritual side and being very close to that veil where they can still try and get a hold of us in some way. But I had never made the connection with visitors and the dead before. So.
This is the first time I've ever heard it. But there is a lot of, I think, all of it I'm skeptical about. Sure. But there are the correlations that maybe it's the Venn diagram of it, or the ideas of time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
And are they from another time and coming back? Is it time traveling? Same thing with, the idea that once we pass on, we're kind of part of all time and there's no linear line to it anymore. It's all constantly happening at the same time. There's crossover there that I think is an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still skeptical, but I find it so interesting. And there are, I think, the people that are having these, you right now, you're like, I have had these experiences.
Yeah.
And just like Whitley was like, this is what happened to me. And, we have people in our family that are like, had fully connected to someone who's passed on. I would like it to be a more positive thing. And I don't love that Whitley was probed
Yeah.
And violated.
Yeah.
That part freaks me out.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I feel like in the end, he has such a positive feeling about it overall, even though the beginning was so awful.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I just also want to tell you that, and I have not told Steve this, ever since I've watched this show, and I've watched it twice so I could watch it the one time and then take my notes for the podcast. Ever since I've watched the show, every night I have had dreams about my mother. My mother died in 2020 from COVID. Mm-hmm. And I have had dreams about her, not her like coming and talking to me or telling me something, but just a dream, right? A weird, it doesn't make sense, kind of not a memory, but just a dream that you have, right? But my mother is in these dreams, and I have not thought about my mom, talked about my mom, dreamed about my mom in almost 6 years. Now I'm dreaming about her. And I also wonder, since my dad right now is not doing well, I wonder if that has something to do with it too, because I believe kind of you and I have had personal talks about my dad where, you know, sometimes he's not all there because my dad is dying from cancer, but I don't think he has a whole lot of time right now. And I'm wondering if I'm seeing my mom is meaning that my dad is not, you know, going to be here pretty soon. So I don't know. I'm wondering if there's a correlation there, but
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Like maybe she's around as you know, the hospice nurses have said in different scenarios, the veil is thinning, the veil is lifting.
Yeah. And
so maybe that is as your dad is kind of in between these realities.
Yeah.
And your mom's kind of coming through to you. And I think a big part of it is also being open to it. You know, my stepmom is very much in tune with that intuitive side of things and has experienced some really incredible things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe I'm more closed off. I know that my dad is much more closed off about it, but then some of the things are just kind of undeniable.
Yeah.
Like messages that are being brought through, and it's like, you can't explain that. You can't logic that.
Yeah.
There's no reason that would be a message that would, it's very, I find it all really fascinating. And like I said, as I'm getting older, I'm having a lot more openness to it. And I think in general, the feelings are that it's a kind of a beautiful, peaceful thing as much as, you know, anything else. So
yeah, no,
I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not hoping for my dad to not be here, but I also don't want him to be suffering like he is right now because he's not doing well. But I don't know. He says, like I've told you, right? You know, he sees his dead parents and they're in the room with him. And then there's days where he's completely lucid and he doesn't tell me that. So, I just wonder if my mom is trying to somehow make me feel comforted. I don't know. Like, again, she's not like, you know, like in the movies where she's standing there saying, your dad's going to die. It's going to be fine. Like, there's none of that. It's just a dream, right? I'm just having these weird dreams and she's there and she's never been there before. I haven't dreamt about her for 6 years. So, anyway, I just thought it was really interesting ever since I watched this show. I've been having these dreams about her, and then I thought about
maybe it's that openness that's happening. Like you're feeling a little bit like that idea has opened up something in your mind that makes it all come through. I like it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Sure, why not?
Yeah, you betcha. Oh.
So, well, this was actually, you know, for our documentary true crime segment. Kind of a nice one.
Yeah.
A little bit freaky still, but pretty nice.
Yeah.
And we'll have something new. No promises next week.
Yeah.
And some more Real Housewives. And also, I may or may not be investing in some more TikTok witches.
I am definitely going to invest in that. I cannot wait. I can't. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's I keep almost doing it, but then I'm like, now that we've talked about it on the podcast, we're doing it for research.
Right.
Absolutely. It's not being dumb with my money. This is content.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Content, Matt.
Right. So are there good witches? Are there bad witches? Are there ones that are trying to shake you down and blackmail you?
I thought that my witch was a good witch. Or
are they true and wonderful, loving, caring here? Yes.
All right. Well, here's what we're going to do is we're going to start researching our TikTok witches, and we'll help you guys find the good TikTok witches versus the ones that will shake you down.
Yeah. You bet.
So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing a podcast with me.
I love you.
I love you. This was so fun. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.